Now, guys, as we continue here with the exposition of Ecclesiastes, we get to a section in chapter 3 that pretty much everybody knows. It's so funny. There's an old song by the Byrds that they pull almost verbatim out of this section of Ecclesiastes. Recently, probably one of the most beautiful songs that was written about this section of Scripture was put together by the crew that does Patch the Pirate. And I want to play this clip. It probably... My channel's not monetized anyway, but this probably won't allow it to be monetized anyway. But I want you to hear this. I think it's extremely beneficial. But before we go, I do want to read this section. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, as we get to this next phase, Solomon is talking about we need to enjoy the things that God has given us, but understand that these things, whether good or bad, are from the hand of God. And as you get into chapter 3, there is a time and a place for all these things that we deal with in life. And look at what he says in chapter 3, verse 1. He says, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get, and a time to lose. A time to keep, and a time to cast away. A time to rend, and a time to sow. A time to keep silence, and a time to speak. A time to love, and a time to hate. A time of war, and a time of peace. What profit hath he that worketh in that wherein he laboureth? I have seen the travail which God hath given to the sons of men to be exercised in it. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also, he has set the world in their hearts, so that no man can find out the work that God doeth from the beginning to the end. I know that there is no good in them, but for that a man should rejoice and do good in his life, and also that a man should eat and drink and enjoy the good in all his labor. It is a gift of God. I know that whatever God doeth, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, and nothing taken away from it. And God doeth it that men may fear before him. That which hath been is now, and that which hath already been is past, and God requireth that which is past." And I think that's a powerful message we need to remember. God controls a lot of these times and seasons. And he does it specifically, as verse 12 notes, that man may fear before him. That's verse 14. And so God is going to do things to keep us on a back foot. God is going to do things to remind us that he is the one in charge. So with that being said, I'm going to play a bit of this song for you. Again, I think it's a beautiful song. I think it's a wonderful representation pulled straight out of the text here. And we'll comment on it if needed.
Time to cry, a time for night and day, for work and play, a time to live, a time to die. So I will trust in God, the changeless one of eternity. Hours wither.
Now, one of the things to note here as she goes through this song, and again, just a beautiful rendition of the passage, it's asking us to trust God, who is changeless, who is eternal. And again, you notice part of the issue Solomon's dealing with is the transience of everything in life. The fact that there is no permanence, the fact that there is no lasting king. You die and all your stuff's passed on to the next guy. And that's the point he's trying to draw attention to, is God is eternal. God is going to be the judge. God is going to be the one that works all this stuff out. And that's why we need to trust him and do as he sees fit. Because if we are doing things, so to speak, under the sun, there really is no profit, because we're thinking under the sun. But in an eternal sense, there is something to be gained. I'll play a little bit more of the song. I'll let you guys go find it. The song is called To Everything There Is a Season, put out by the daughter of Patch the Pirate, if you know who that is. But Adam and Megan Morgan have put this song together.
The seasons change, the flowers wither, the years bring age and memories fade. The only solid place to place your faith is in the one who orders time. So I will trust in God, the changeless one of eternity. For every life there is a reason, a master plan God has ordained, a loving God who made and then forgave, who numbered each and every day. So I will trust in God, the changeless one of eternity.
So again, beautiful song. I'll put a link to it in the description if you want to catch the full version of that song. But again, it encapsulates what Solomon is trying to say here. God controls these days and hours. There's a time, and again, he draws attention. There is a time for a lot of things that are uncomfortable, a lot of things that are things that we would not consider to be part of the plan. And he says there's a time for war and there's a time for peace. That there is a time where you have to go to war. You can't just let this thing go. But then there's a time where you can, let's do peace. And Solomon's going to deal with some of those in his own life. And this is how we then can say, enjoy the life that God has given you. Enjoy what God has allowed you to have. Take it from the hand of God. So if there's a blessing, don't feel bad about having that blessing. But you don't have to spend your whole life pursuing the next best thing. Enjoy what God's given and understand there are things we will not understand about God, and he does that on purpose to keep us on our back foot and to keep us trusting him. So again, guys, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 through 15. We covered a good chunk today. And so again, I'll ask you to tune in next time. And thank you guys for tuning in.